we are right now in a very active containment mode.
Worldwide this morning, growing concern over a growing health crisis, with health officials here in the U.S. moving fast to prepare for what the CDC has called an inevitable spread.
I heard them say today it's not a matter of if, they are saying it's a matter of when.
The state announced they will be distributing an additional $50 million in economic support to help those struggling businesses.
Seattle has seen the virus spread to at least 70 patients.
Those business owners tell me they are just about to throw in the towel. They were starting to bounce back from the summer. Now they've been hit again.
Take a look at the city's iconic Pike Place Market. Normally bustling with tourists and shoppers, on Thursday, virtually deserted.
Why? Why should we have confidence? We've never given a vaccine to 300 million people before, and you got an administration that's going to be in charge of it that's not going to know what the hell is going on.
Marker.
Jesus. Seems annoying.
These like just medium shots out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's got Kira on all of them in there.
I'm gonna wait for him to focus the camera. Okay. Hi.
Totally shit.
Take 4.
Hi, my name is Alec Escalante.
I'm Trevor Brandt.
I'm Courtney Austin, his wife.
I'm Joe Flynn.
Kendrick Washington. So I'm gonna let this chopper. I used to do this 2 careers ago. So I know.
My name is Andrew Bach. I'm a pastor here in the city.
Before the pandemic.
Sunshine and lollipops.
I mean, it was pretty good.
It's terrible now.
No.
No.
I was in college going to classes. I was rehearsing for a play. I was going to star in a play.
I had a job. I was going out almost every night. I want to say I was a little bit happier.
I had a suite at the school that I go to with 5 really good friends of mine, and we were all great buddies. We'd hang out on the weekends, play video games, go get food and stuff like that. And my family would come every once in a while. I don't live too far away from where I go to school, so it was pretty normal college experience.
And spring break came, and I was working as a tour guide at college, and then spring break, I guess, never ended.
Thousands of Americans nationwide already under voluntary self-quarantine after returning from China.
More countries in Europe have confirmed cases, most of those patients having traveled to Italy, where the number of confirmed cases there is now 322, with at least 10 people killed by the virus.
We're told by the experts at NIH, CDC, that there is a very strong chance of an extremely serious outbreak of the coronavirus here in the United States.
An 11th person in the United States has died from the coronavirus. 10 of those deaths have been in Washington state.
A 12th fatality has now been reported here in the United States, the latest in Washington state.
Tonight, U.S. cases of coronavirus more than doubling, with 2 new cases in Southern California and 1 in Maricopa County, Arizona.
I think one of the things we need to do is, to the best of our capability, try to keep the kids in school.
Here and the Salmon House, both closed on September 27th.
The Seattle waterfront was hit hard by COVID.
We do have plans on a larger scale if we need it. We don't think we're going to need it, but you know, you always have to be prepared.
I had been kind of cooped up in my small apartment for months at a time, and that's kind of the reason I started live streaming, right? Is people were like, I really wish I could come out, but I live with, you know, my family, or I want to visit my grandparents, or I'm immunocompromised, so I can't go out.
I think that it's a pretty serious crisis. For the past few weeks, it's been overshadowed.
I had been a full-time teacher for a while, but I took a break, and this wound up being probably not the best time to have done that since all these things have been happening. But so I was substitute teaching and a restaurant server, and because of the pandemic, those 2 income streams just pretty much went kaput at the same time.
One big challenge for me is that as a teacher, we had to transition to distance learning, which was a major adjustment.
One challenge for us has just been being the church, because the church is people gathered together.
And so as a pastor, I have severely missed like seeing and being with our church in person. So we've had to do all kinds of online everything. We actually weren't that much online before because we love the personal touch, you know, that church provides in such an online culture. And when COVID hit, we went from like seeing large groups of people all the time to everyone being totally isolated and just away from each other. So just doing life with the people that I love on a regular basis has been tough. And then I've got 4 kids. And so we went from, you know, they're all in school. So we went from like kids in school to now all of them home all the time, not allowed to hang out with any of their friends. So it was crazy. Very, very wild time.
Because of COVID, I wasn't able to do my spring sports, which I was really relying on for scholarships to universities, and hopefully was going to be able to participate at state and place somewhere in the top 5 ranking. But because of COVID, I've never been able to give me that opportunity to proceed and see what my athletic capabilities would have brought me to.
I got laid off recently. I'm not seeing my family as much.
Originally the plan was, you know, we'll have classes online for a month and then we'll come back. So I was gonna stay in my dorm for that time, but the time was extended, so.
I would have to say my mental health. I deal with a lot of anxiety, and I recently found out I have depression.
So I'd hang out with all my coworkers, we'd have a great time, we'd work on the game. Luckily, we work in such a way that, you know, we can continue to build our game and work remotely. Like, we're very lucky as a team. But as time went on, I found it increasingly more difficult to really focus on work as this stuff was happening around Seattle. So I actually took a week off. Currently, I'm kind of trying to, you know, focus on this and document what's happening because it seems like such a unique time.
They've been small sacrifices. I'm still fortunate to be working, and I know a lot of people aren't, and I'm still fortunate to care about the work I'm doing and to, you know, have some folks near me. But for the people who aren't working and for the people who are isolated, you know, I certainly understand how this crisis is harming them and how it's making it harder for them to be patient.
I mean, it was totally changing the way I teach, period. I felt like I'd done a really good job this year until March of having it be really student-centered and lots of conversation between kids and lots of group work and projects, and you can't transfer that online. And so really it was like trying to find new ways to deliver content and also asking students what they wanted to learn.
I applied for unemployment when I got laid off. I was denied several times and it really didn't help. I struggled a little bit. I just couldn't pay my bills, and not having money was a struggle.
I had my college dorm room stuff and then my home room stuff. So it's like fitting 2 rooms worth of things into a room. And we didn't really have a car that was big enough for all the things that I had brought up, and it had accumulated over the course of 7-8 months.
The biggest challenge for me was going home. I go to college in Ohio, and because of COVID and everything, we were forced to leave. So I had to come home to Washington, which was fun. Packing up and actually moving out was difficult.
But there were still several students that I never heard from since March. You know, we reached out to families, we reached out to the kids on different platforms, even like some teachers were trying to like find them on Instagram and TikTok and all of this stuff, but we still don't know if they were really okay or not, or if, yeah.
Yeah, especially students who you knew were homeless.
The cavalry could soon be coming.
But the vaccine's debut likely won't keep pace with the spread of coronavirus.
Okay, we know that if you take the vaccine, you don't get as sick, but we don't know for sure that you can't be infected.
Across the country, more than 100 patients in 26 states are being monitored for possible coronavirus.
Will COVID-19 booster shots be required in the future? An answer could be on the way.
Does it prevent somebody from getting symptomatic, but do they still have virus in them? Yeah. The answer may be yes.
UW Medicine announced a trial today that will mix and match types of doses for participants.
Pfizer making its case to U.S. health officials today that a booster shot will be needed for their COVID-19 vaccine.
5 versus 90. That's a 95% effective. Those numbers are not going to change.
I was one of the kind of urban farming families that we got 8 chickens and we built 5 giant garden boxes in our backyard, and like we went from 0 to 60 as far as the urban farm goes.
Done a lot of Zoom calls, as I'm sure that's going to be probably like one of the words of the year this year, that and social distancing.
I think, there's sort of cliche stuff where it helps you appreciate what you have, not to take your freedom of movement for granted, not to take your family and friends for granted. Every friend I talk to, we joke about how long and awkward the hugs are going to be when we come out of this, when we're finally allowed to hug each other.
So we've had regular weekly virtual dinners with Courtney's family, and I've been calling my parents more like a better son that I probably should have been all along. So I call them like once every week or two now, whereas before it was maybe once every 2 or 3 months. And at the start of the stay home, stay healthy orders, we would have pretty regular Zoom calls with friends. And that has kind of deteriorated a little bit because I think we've figured out we don't need to see you all the time.
I don't have a lot of places to spend money. I've saved a crap ton of money, So yeah, I've learned that I waste a lot of money on a lot of stupid things.
Not much really to do during COVID. Stay at home, play video games, to try and keep my time flexible.
I don't know if quarantine has benefited my life. I guess working. I guess I did get work and I'm making money because I'm going to get an apartment next semester and I'll be able to pay for that.
I got to go home and I missed my family because I hadn't seen them in a while, but I got to go home and hang out with them. And I got to kind of really find out who I am by myself without having to rely on other people. I've gotten to exercise by myself. I got to push myself. That's pretty nice. I've gotten to read more. I've been more focused. I think all of the challenges that I've faced, I've been able to solve in an internal way, in a way that I haven't been able to before.
There are still challenges, obviously, but I'm just happy to be in a position where we can just relax and just chill out for a minute.
Community of people that started watching me was really supportive. They were like, hey, we really appreciate your stream. We like what you're doing. So I felt even more compelled than even just my personal desire to come out and kind of provide it for other people to see what's happening. Because there's a lot of different narratives happening about, what's fake news, what isn't. And I was like, well, the only way I can tell is if I go out there and, I'm willing to share my perspective with other people if they want to see it.
I think that there's still probably more to come. People are assuming that this is going to end soon, and I think that that's not going to happen for a while.
More QFC grocery store pharmacies are now offering COVID shots to eligible Washington residents. Starting today, 28 locations are now helping out in the effort.
Seattle is ending its testing and vaccination work, closing down some locations.
This is a live look from Alderwood Mall in Linwood, where stores are back to full capacity for the first time in more than a year.
The White House said President Trump has pushed hard for months to send Americans badly needed financial relief. We look forward to Congress sending a bill to his desk imminently for signature.
The CDC director explains the mutation this way. It can infect twice as many people as the original strain of COVID.
This just in, state health officials are investigating reports of people in our state who tested positive for COVID-19 more than 2 weeks after being fully vaccinated.
Since February 1st, 8 people with vaccine breakthrough have been hospitalized.
Vaccinated people who do have a breakthrough infection are clearly capable of transmitting
the infection.
Well, could we soon see a rollback to phase 2 here in King County? New warnings tonight from local leaders as COVID numbers start to creep up.
Tomorrow is decision day. Which counties will be allowed to stay in phase 3? Which are going to be forced to roll back?
I would say just make sure you weigh the risks versus your situation, right? If you're living with a bunch of people or you're visiting, older family members or friends, I would say you've really got to take that into account. If you're younger, healthier, and you live alone, like that risk is lower, but everyone has to kind of make that judgment for themselves. So I would say make that judgment and then don't be selfish, wear a mask when you come out so that even if you don't believe it affects other people, like it makes other people feel safe.
With my family, it's a little bit more difficult because I don't want them to get sick, even though I don't have it. I know none of my friends have it. I just don't want to take that risk when I see my immediate or extended family.
We need to normalize the wearing of masks. In recent news, there's been, like in the Ozarks a while back, there was a big pool party and somebody actually went with COVID just thinking, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and infected like 40 people. I don't know if it's the actual number, but it was a lot of people.
I think it's gonna take another lesson. We haven't learned our lesson yet. I think this pandemic is worse than people think it is. It's still happening, and I think it's gonna get worse again.
I don't think you really beat a virus, but if we listen to healthcare providers when they tell us what to do, and if we can eventually get a vaccine and contact tracing and all of that stuff that we have been told that we need, if we can get there, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think that's the big part, is putting your faith in people who are experts and know what they're talking about, and not listening to people who are just spreading wild conspiracy theories and filling the world with false information. I think a time like this is a time that really challenges people's ability to be humble and reflective, to realize that they don't come first, that other people's health is on the line, and to really think of others' well-being and not just your own.
I know a lot of people say wear your mask, but I don't think that just masks will help. I think we just need to stay sanitized, just wash our hands, cover your cough, and try not to speak or be around a lot of people.
My light at the end of the tunnel is Jesus anyway. And so for me, I'm super hopeful, not necessarily that everything's gonna go back to how it was before, but I'm just hopeful because I know Jesus is leading the world. He's in charge, he's leading my life, and so truly, I know I said I'm a pastor, but truly, my hope and my life is in Jesus. He's the reason I get up every day. He's the reason I try to love people that are right in front of me. And so that's my hope. I don't know what it's going to be like, but that's where my hope comes from.
And Lord, we as the church just repent for every way that we have not treated humans. They are all created in your image. They all bear your image. Every single one of us, God. We all bear your image.
I'm not sure at all. I don't even know if there's light at the end of the tunnel. I just know that we have to stay hopeful, and that we don't make the same mistake as past years.
The
highly contagious COVID variant first found in the UK has now been detected in all 50 states. And the CDC says there are a total of 15,000 cases in the U.S.
Healthcare workers tell me they are most concerned about the rise in pediatric cases. Tonight, COVID cases are skyrocketing in Missouri, with healthcare workers bearing the brunt.
There are also parents, though, who are beyond excited that their kids can finally get vaccinated.
Yeah, so we all know bars were hit pretty hard by the pandemic, and with COVID cases only continuing to go up, these businesses are not taking any chances, and they're enforcing some strict safety measures.
Florida leads the way with close to 3,200 positive tests. Washington, by the way, ranks 18th.
The Eatonville School District says that they're going to hold clinics next week for their middle schoolers. And here at Seattle Public Schools, they say that next week they're planning to hold clinics for kids who are 16 and up.
Central Washington University just joined a growing list of colleges and universities requiring students to get vaccinated before returning to campus this fall.
3 million Americans have gotten their first dose of a coronavirus vaccine in the last week.
As the state reopens, Governor Inslee will start his day in Tacoma celebrating the milestone.
If you run your business like you care about your community cares about you, and they'll let you know that that's okay.
I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel because humanity's made it this far. Probably we'll make it to the next day, next month, next year. We'll see how it goes.
When this first started, I think a lot of people were just anxious to be like, you heard a lot of people saying, oh, I can't wait for it to go back to normal. And I don't think anymore we should want it to go back to normal. I think there's, like she said, there's a lot of things that if we've been really listening, a lot of people should learn and wake up to know what sort of changes should occur in order for more people to be healthy and cared for.
You got one life. You know what I mean? You got one life, so be safe, live your best life, live your most honest and truest life, and stand up for what you believe in.
I can't say that it's close. I can tell you that it's there because I choose to rely on the fact that we're having scientists working around the clock to try and find a vaccine. And I believe in the good that people have, that inherently we'll all try and work together.
Honestly, just hang out with small groups. Don't go to large events. Don't go to big rallies and protests where you're shoulder to shoulder and buddy to buddy. Keep the group small and keep your distance from others. Normal is just an everyday kind of way. It's not an actual thing. It's not. Every day is not really normal. Normal is just a thought that we have. It's the way that we cope with how things go. Like right now, COVID, we're already a few months in, so it has become normal. It has become custom to us. Normal is just constant change.
Humans have always overcome.
I mean, I think there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Humans have lasted. We've lasted so far, thousands and thousands, millions. No, I don't know. I don't know enough about history to thousands, thousands and thousands. We've lasted a long, long time, and it's always been that way. And we've always been able to, the people who fight for a better world are always going to be there, and we have to be part of that.
I think this, at least for my generation, like, this is unprecedented. We've never had anything like this in the United States since I've been alive, and it's a dark and hard time. And just my hope would be that in the darkness that you would turn to the light of the world, who's Jesus. So that's my hope.
It's like the legend of the phoenix, from ashes there will be rebirth. So this is just the exact same thing. It's turmoil, and from it there will be opportunity that will rise.